Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week of tips and tricks and all the best things that you can put into place into your classroom so that you can develop the best potential. Here's our Dance Teacher Potential channel. And today we're going to give you a few tips on how to help your little dancers, especially learn choreography or remember choreography. We all have big expectations of those little ones to get on stage and perform our choreographies. And so if you arm them with the right tools, if you know what you're looking for and how to go into the classroom when you're teaching that choreography, then they'll be successful on stage. So a few things that are interesting, and it's part of the training that we do, the way the little ones relate to the world is they use their imagination. And so instead of saying plie, tendu, dégagé, développé, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you make up interesting things that make sense in their imaginative world. And so you can say, we go under the bridge, and then we're going to take a turn and meet the butterfly. And not necessarily that your entire choreography needs to be a story, but then every time you say under the bridge, they're like, oh yeah, that's when we go down and do a plie. Oh, the butterfly, that's when I needed to move my arms. And so introducing things that connect their brains to their body movement it's always very, very helpful. And you can call out those names throughout the choreography, and that way their brains kind of remember what's next, because sometimes what's difficult is for them to remember the whole choreography, not necessarily just get the steps right.
Because if you do 3 minutes, that's a long time for a 4-year-old to remember. um, it also helps, if you don't really change your formations. At this age you want to keep your dance interesting because the whole dance can be repetitive to keep it simple for them. But if you change up your formations, they're going to get so lost and so confused. Where do I go? How do I go here? When is, that's too much information for them to handle, and for them to accomplish. So I think really keeping your formation simple, and then also your choreography repetitive,
Absolutely.
constantly like, every time the verse comes on, we do the same exact phrase, starburst, down high, starburst, down high, so that it's just constantly on repeat in their brain, and it forces itself to be stuck inside that muscle memory.
Absolutely. So it's like you're pairing the music with the image, with the body and the words. And so you have all the different tools that are coming in so that they can remember what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important. The formations, you can have one change formation maybe towards the end when they're finishing. They go into a circle and they pose and then they're done. But I think that intricate formations will definitely be very confusing for them and frustrating for you. Another thing to keep in mind is use material you've been using in class. So their bodies are already used to, exercises and steps that you've been working on. And so take advantage of that and introduce those into your choreography. So don't think, oh, now it's time for choreography. Let's bring in all this new things. Because number one, they might not look their best because they have not mastered those steps. And number two, is going to take a while for them to remember it. And on the other hand, if you use what you've been doing, then they're like, oh, this is, the same. My body is doing what I'm used to doing. But then the only thing that is different for me is the music or the sequence that I'm using, the steps.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think, putting all of these things together will help the dancers when they get on stage, and those butterflies and those jitters and those nerves that probably a lot of them at a younger age haven't felt before. Maybe it's their first time on stage. But I think keeping it consistent where they hear the music and they're like, oh, I do the starburst at this part. It's going to be comforting to them. So that way you won't need, an assistant on stage dancing with them. You won't need to have somebody below the stage marking things out, because you're so prepared and they're also so prepared, that you won't need to take those unnecessary measures.
Absolutely. Yes, no, I agree. And we've talked about this before, and it is part of our training. Your music is super important. And so, if you're trying to choreograph for little ones, take the time to look for music that is clear and simple and exciting. And
Yeah.
so that the changes in the music are very clear, that the counts in the music are very clear. Most little ones can count to four, some can count to eight. And so, using one to four, one to eight is fine. And if your music is clear, then that will make all the difference in the world. If you bring very intricate music, it's going to be very hard for them to understand what's happening at what moment. Yes. So you know what? And feel confident when you go into the classroom and try what you've planned. And we always encourage you to try things with little ones and be patient with yourself and them, at least 2 classes. So if you go in with a plan, sometimes what happens with choreography is it doesn't go as you planned. And so take time and be patient and be very simple when you are creating your choreography so that they can remember it better and you can help them remember better. Also, try not to choreograph everything at the same time, choreograph in little chunks.
Yeah.
And this way, you are going to help them remember and learn the choreography much better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I also think start as early as possible. Like, don't wait until the last couple of months with the little ones before your show to start your dance. I think as soon as you have an idea, start then. Just the little tiny bits, the last 5 minutes of class, just start a dance, and then maybe add on to it every week if it's working. And
Mhm.
so they'll build up that muscle memory also from like, oh, this is what we do every week in class,
Mhm.
so then it becomes a part of your class.
Yes.
Um, and
Yes.
the earlier the better, because, then that muscle memory will kick in once they're on stage and they're like, got it, on it.
Yes. Yes. Any tiny change you make to a choreography with little ones will be a disaster if you try to do it within the last month or a couple weeks. You do not, this is another, um, you know, recommendation. If something is not working, simplify it or shorten it.
Yeah.
Do not try to revamp a whole section or a whole choreography because it'll be very hard for them to switch
Yeah.
channels and for you very frustrating to try to get them to do it. They're just younger, and they take a lot longer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all we have time for today. What do you think?
Yes, no, absolutely.
If you would like to hear any topics discussed by us, please leave a comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe. We post every week. We have our very own dance teacher training program where you can either go to our websites and get that, where we also have exercise flashcards for the younger classes where you could actually, use that and mixing match and plan your whole entire year just from those 63 cards. Those are on our website and also on our Etsy shop. Both will be in our bio link below. Please feel free to check that out. Again, don't make sure, I mean, again, make sure to like and subscribe,
Mhm.
and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.